I came out to it about 3 or 4 months ago.
Why are we recording, would you say?
I've just got a YouTube channel for do my plumbing.
Okay.
And I've been out to it a few times and filmed it, and I said if I ever catch Severn Trent here sorting it out, I'll see if I can do it. For the reason being is when this is pushed into position, we have to hold it where it's going to go and push the 2 profiles out like so. We are back at the bed and breakfast, but luckily this time it is not for the macerator. So when you do electric shower like this, we've all done it, I know we have, is missed out putting these 2 blanking plugs in the top. Severn Trent are here at the minute, digging up the ground. I'm going to find out exactly what it is that is going on, because this house, the main going into it, was absolutely shocking. So we're going to have a word with them. Right, lads. Right, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. A bit of housekeeping. Where are we at? We are going into winter now. So, you know the change in weather. I've felt it. I'm sure a few of you out there have felt it. I've just sort of lost my mojo a little bit with work. Obviously, you're going out and you're still doing work and this, that and the other. But, you know, I'm now getting in the van in the morning and going, right, flicking through my phone, sort of not really getting straight into it. So I've got to sort my mindset out about that, because it's a little bit all over the place at the minute. And I think everybody could be finding that with everything that's going on, with the price rises here, there and everywhere, and the weather changing and the darker mornings, darker evenings. So just don't think it's just you, because I have it and I know other people local to me have got it as well. It's just a bit of the winter blues. So, you know, so just drop a comment below if you're feeling a little bit like that. It'd be interesting to hear how many of you are in that sort of boat. But yeah, you've just got to sort of, as long as you accept it, but do something about it. Right, what have we got today? As you've probably seen from the thumbnail, we are back at the job where you can clearly see we're digging the road up. So there's some work being done by Severn Trent, my local water authority. Shout out to them, because they have been brilliant for the whole duration of this issue with this job. You'll see if we get it sorted or not. It's quite an interesting video actually. So we've got that, and we go back to the house where we took the tiles off, took the shower screen out and the tiles come off. So that was re-tiled, Matty re-tiled that. So we finally get back there, get the screen back on. Just because of time wise, I couldn't get that job in. You know, it was only a 3-4 hour job or whatever it was, but I just couldn't manage to squeeze it in. So we've got that as well. I've got a tour coming up soon of a factory. I'll give you a little tease, a little bit more maybe next week, when I can say what we're doing. But yeah, we've got a tour coming up of a factory that every plumber will have used this product. There's a few of us from the social media scene going to it, but I'll film the whole day. The company have said it's fine to film it, and I think everyone will find it quite interesting, because as a plumber, everybody, even as a DIYer, you've probably used this product or had to change this product within a little bit of work that you're doing. So we've got that to come. Right, enough waffle from me. I hope everyone is doing well. Hit the subscribe button, all that jazz, and let's get on with the video. Right, we're finally back at this job where I've got to fit the shower screen into this shower area. As you'll have known, when we come to do it the first time, we took the original one out and the tiles off this wall completely come off. If you don't know or you haven't seen it, I'll put a link above so that you can catch up just where we are. So Matty came out, retiled this wall for us. We managed to match it up perfectly, so that's all well and good. Now what he had to do was replicate this little slip in the tile along the bottom there. He wasn't keen on it, but it was the only way of doing it to keep the pattern working. And obviously where it's been siliconed in and whatnot before, we've got to try and replicate that. So what I will do when this screen has gone in is go around the outside and silicon up. Once the screen is in, the screen is over there, it's all made up, ready. Funny enough, I made it up on the day when we took this one out, because I didn't think we was going to have the issues that we did. But it's all well and good now, it's all sorted. So what we will start off by doing is marking for the profiles to go at the walls. Now, it's usually about 10 or 15 mil off the side of the shower tray. So we'll get the profiles marked up, either side, get them in position, and then we can start getting this screen in. So because of the style of this, Sometimes you find they're tricky to get into these little areas because you've got two fixed points either side. This is going to be one that sits in, and then the two profiles will push out either way and lock it all into positions. It sounds complicated, but I will talk you through the process of doing it. It's fairly straightforward. So we'll get that all set up, ready to go in. I'll get it marked up and check back with you shortly. So, as I said, just quickly looked at the installation instructions on this, and it is 10mm from the lip of the tray. So what we've done is measured 10mm in on both sides, there and there, and then what we shall do is put the bottom edge of the profile on that 10. I'm just putting it into position roughly now, just to show you. Put the edge of the profile there on the side of that mark. We'll level it up through, and then, as you can see, there's 4 or 5 holes in the side of it. Get them drilled out on both sides, this side as well, and then we're ready for the profiles to sit into the frame to sit in one piece, and then the side profiles will just slide out left and right and screw that frame into the tiles. So I've now got the frame into the bathroom, which is a bit of a pain because it's really close to the door height. Now, this is the part where some people agree and some people disagree. I personally have always done it, and I know it works, and it gives me assurance that the screen is not going to be leaking or anything like that. I always put a bead of silicone, only a small bead, down the channels that get bolted to the wall. So in effect, this channel here is going to be bolted to this wall here. I always put a small bead of silicone down the back edge of it along here. Now, what's going to be slightly different with this one is I'm not going to put it on the channels. I'm going to run it down. These are the holes we've got, this one. I'm going to run it down there on the wall and down there. For the reason being is when this is pushed into position, we have to hold it where it's going to go and push the two profiles out like so. So if you've got it down there and you're trying to manhandle the screen into position, it can be a nightmare. You can get silicone everywhere. So I'll run them down there because I'm going to need 2 hands for this because it's just dead awkward. So I'm going to run a bead of silicone down there, get this screen in and bolt it in, and then that is the main sort of framing. Then we can look at sealing the front profiles, getting the door on and finishing it off like that. So I'll be back in a minute. There we go. That is that frame in position now, all bolted in, and obviously you've got your 3 fixing points down there. We're going to wipe down the silicone off the side now, get the trims on there, and then I think the next stage is hanging the door. That screen is all done and dusted now, apart from just silicone down the front edge, across the bottom and up the side. You only ever silicone the front of these shower screens, because if you do the back and water gets in, it gets trapped in there. So it'll always say in the instructions, only silicone the front. But yeah, we've got that all in, got the rubbers on, nice magnetic door on there to hold it shut. But that is 100 times better than the screen that they had before. If you remember, the door alone was just hanging over the front of these tiles, and it was just crap, if I'm honest. I think it was an expensive one, but it was just too heavy. It was just pulling itself away from the wall and coming out the rubbers here and all that sort of stuff. So this one is a lot better. But yeah, that's just a basic, straightforward screen that has filled that gap, and I always prefer the ones with the frames around them as opposed to just the glass ones. Just me personally, yes, the glass ones look great, but I just feel they're a bit crap. But yeah, that's that one done. We'll get it siliconed up, and then they can get back in and start using this shower again. Right, as some of you can probably spot, we are back at the bed and breakfast yet again, but luckily this time it is not for the macerator. It is for something fairly straightforward, the electric shower. Now, this Triton T80, it's been fluctuating hot and cold as the people have been using it, and Stuart, the owner, messaged me and said, is there any chance you could, he weren't sure what was wrong with it, whether there was like a thermostat in there or whatever that was playing up, and I said, to be completely honest, you're better off just swapping the unit complete. So been and picked another one up there. We've got the water off, we've got the power off, so it's going to be a case of undoing the screws top and bottom, whipping the front off, disconnecting the cold feed to it and swapping it for exactly the same. So in theory, all the holes should be in the same place, line up. It should be a fairly straightforward job. But as I said before, with this bed and breakfast, if there's a problem, we need to get it sorted straight away. So Stuart messaged me yesterday, ordered the shower, got it in, so it's about 10, half 10 today. We'll get that switched out for him, and then they can carry on getting the guests in that are booked in tonight. Right, front cover's off. We've disconnected the electrics to it there, and obviously we just pull that out of the way. I've undone the nuts for the water. The water's obviously off. I've undone took the bottom screw out. Top screw is just in through there. It's just a case now of lifting it up, taking it out of the way, getting the new one out and refitting it. So this is the new shower, ready to go on. These easy fits are perfect because this feed going in can be spun round. Obviously the one we took out is that side, so we'll get that there, and all it is a case of popping it back on its screw. So we'll spin that round, put a new nut and olive on, new nuts, get it on, new nut and olive on, and then see if we can do this one-handed. Like so, pop that in, tighten that up. So we get that tightened up, get the power cables connected back in, get the screw in the bottom, and that's the unit, back on, and we'll get the water on to test it. In fact, I will pop a little bit of paste on there before I get it tightened up. There we go, all connected up, reconnected there, reconnected the electrics, water's back on now. What I will do is get the cover, I've got the cover down there, 3 screws. So when you're doing an electric shower like this, we've all done it, I know we have, is missed out putting these 2 blanking plugs in the top. Always make sure they're in, because there's nothing worse than connecting it all back up, done, looking on the top and going, oh shit, I forgot to put them in. So always chuck them in as well. Right, what we'll do, we'll connect this LED light now into the bottom, into there, and get this cover screwed back on. There we go, all on and working. Hit the button, away we go. A quick little fix of a shower that didn't work. So now they've got that working, they can let the guests have this room back later on today. Right, that's that shower sorted at the bed and breakfast that a lot of you will know I do plenty of work at. Now, I've also done some work up the road at a house. Now, I don't know if you remember, but it was a property. The customer called me out. Funny enough, it was Stuart from the bed and breakfast that put me on to this customer up the road, and they were having an issue with their water supply. Now, I went out to it probably about 4 or so months ago. I'll see if I can find the video and link it up in the top. But I went out about 4 months ago and they had no water pressure. I think from memory it was about 2 litres a minute or 1 litre a minute with no pressure behind it. They had Severn Trent out to it, and Severn Trent said it needed a new main going into it. So we're here now. If we turn the water on, and you'll see the initial moment when you turn it on, there's a burst where the pressure's built up inside the main, but as you're watching it, you'll see the water pressure drop off like that, and it is literally just dribbling out of the tap. So I pop the weir gauge on it, and as you can see, it's barely even reaching 2 litres a minute through this gauge, which is just, you know, if they use the hose in the garden, the water in the house basically stops everywhere. So yeah, under 2 litres a minute, that's no good at all. So this is upstairs. The toilets are even struggling to fill. You flush them and it takes an age for them cisterns to fill. And look at the cold on the tap upstairs. It's barely dribbling out. We've got the incoming main there. We've got the old stop tap there, which I think was possibly seized on or off, and the new one there. The top one works fine, but what I think is this bottom one is either going to be furred up, or hoping it's furred up, because it just, you know, it won't turn at all. It's solid. They've been turning it on and off with the second one. So I think this bottom one is the one that's furred up, hopefully. there's the issue. But what we'll do, we'll take both of them out anyway and replace with just a single stop tap. So this is next door. That's the property I'm in at the moment, and this is the house directly next door. The customer's got access to this house, so I thought while we're here, we'll pop the weir gauge on it, and just to show you that this house fed off the same main, just with a separate stop tap. There's 16 litres a minute here. You can see the difference straight away in this way it's coming out. But if you look at that, I don't know if you can make it out on the video, but it is near on 15, 16 litres a minute. You can clearly see there's a huge difference from next door to in here. So there's an issue somewhere. So Severn Trent guy's just turned up, and he's umming and sucking in a load of breath, which is never a good thing. So what do we think then?
Well, what I think is that we need to see what's below that fitting.
Yeah.
Because if it's galvanised iron pipe, the best route to go down is to put a new pipe work in. Yeah. Because I think, it's like Mark was saying, he's done the pressure test. You're getting 3 bar pressure and you're getting 1 litre a minute. Yeah. So yeah. I say the restriction is going to be the pipe work. Yeah. So I think
I didn't know whether like you said, you've had a problem with roots, haven't you? Roots on trees, whether it's crushed pipe or whatever.
Looking at the age of this property, I would say this is probably galvanised pipe. So the best route you can do, the problem you can do is I can give you a card of a chap who does this type of work moulding and then work it that way.
Send his little machine in, dig along there, and then out that way.
Yeah.
And then Severn Trent will come and do the connection there, and then you should have. Should be able to water your garden then.
Yeah.
We were left with a new main being put in at some point. Now, I've just noticed Severn Trent are up at that house now, basically digging the road up. So I'm going to pop up now and just see what is going on. So as I said, that's the bed and breakfast. Now the other property is just here. So Severn Trent are here at the minute, digging up the ground. I'm going to find out exactly what it is that is going on, because this house, the main going into it, was absolutely shocking. So we're going to have a word with them. Right, lads. You're right with me filming? So I'm a plumber that diagnosed the problem with this house ages ago. So what are you doing? Are you putting a new main in? I come out to it about 4 months ago, and it was doing, I think it's about 1 litre a minute, cold main. I came out to it about 3 or 4 months ago.
Why are we recording, did you say?
I've just got a YouTube channel for do my plumbing.
Okay.
And I've been out to it a few times and filmed it, and I said if I ever catch Severn Trent here sorting it out, I'll see if I can do it. I came out to it, and I think it was 1 litre a minute was coming through. It was shit, absolutely shit. Okay. So I put a new stop tap in thinking it was that. Yeah. Still the same. So then we called Severn Trent out. One of the guys come out, looked at it, and I think, have they put a new main in? Have they moulded a new blue poly main in?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, straight back to the
So it's having a new blue main going in?
New service from the main back to the boundary box. So they've replaced it.
So is that stop tap all right?
Yeah. So basically they've replaced it from boundary to here. Yeah. That's new. And the pressure's still low.
Oh, is it still shit?
Yeah.
So they've put a new main from there internally.
A new service from here just to here.
To there.
Yeah, I think the lady has had a plumber.
Yeah.
Was it you?
That was me, yeah.
Put a service from there to here, yeah. Yeah, so they've connected onto that. And now we're digging directly to the mains.
So you think the issue is
don't know until we dig it out.
No. Right, okay. It's just interesting.
It could be the actual ferrule that needs winding up a bit more.
Right.
It could be that the pipe's crushed down there.
That's what I thought. When I come out, I thought, is it an old main that's either corroded underground, it's leaking? Because the pressure here.
Well, it is galvanised pipe, so it could have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, so they've got new from there internally. Yeah. So Severn Trent are now gonna go from here onto, I assume you've got a big massive main running down the road there.
6 inch, I think it is.
6 inch main running down there, so you'll tap a new service, a new pipe into that. Right. So there we go. Hopefully, once Severn Trent have done their bit, they're going to tap into the main run that is running down, feeding the whole street, because we know next door, the pressure next door is bang on. Perfect. So we know that's fine. Rosemary's house, as we said, there was a big problem with it. The new feed's gone from there, internal, still the same. So Severn Trent back out, they're going to renew from here to the actual main, and hopefully that should sort it out. But it was good for me to drive past, catch these lads here, because I always said I'd try and give an update if I can, and there we go. So we'll probably be back here in a month's time, sorting out the original issue inside the house. So 2 days later, and the Severn Trent boys have finished doing what they were doing. To be fair to them, they connected the water up that night that I came and filmed the bit you've just seen. Since then, they've now had the other team out, because Severn Trent sort of work in teams. One team will do the connection, another team will do the filling in. So this morning, they filled in here, and I think from what the customer said is the tarmac team are going to come out later on and tarmac that back in. But what they've done is they've renewed from the stop tap back to the actual main sort of header that runs down the middle of the street. So all that's been renewed now. Now, interestingly enough, when we came originally, there was very poor pressure in the house. It was like 1 litre a minute coming through. So I've got the weir gauge to see what it's like now. We had Severn Trent out. Severn Trent said it was an issue with the pipe going from their stop tap to the stop tap in the house. So they advised for a new blue main to be put in, which has gone in there. We've just got to backfill that bit, put that in, and the problem was still there. So the customer got back onto Severn Trent and they said, right, okay, we will do the bit from the stop tap into the road. And fair play to Severn Trent, they also said they will reimburse the customer for what they've paid to have a new main put in, because that was clearly not the problem, which is fair play, which is great for Severn Trent. So shout out to Severn Trent for that. So as I was saying, we've now had the new pipework put in here, new stop tap, completely new pipework going round. The mole guy put it through here, and to be fair, the customer said the mole guy was absolutely brilliant. I think from what she said, he came in underneath the lawn along here to this point here, had all this grass up here, and so he's laid it perfectly back down, and then from there he came back in to here. The stop tap is the other side of there, so he's come back in with the new blue poly main back into there. Now this is the pipe, this is part of the pipe that the Severn Trent guys took out. I don't know if you can make that out or not, but there's not, it's literally tiny through the middle of there. But yeah, it's the old galvanised steel pipe. So they've cut that out. That could have corroded anyway. They didn't cut all of it out, he just cut that little bit out to show me what it was like. We won't leave that on the flue, will we? So we'll leave that there, and I shall take you inside and show you exactly what pressure we've got now. We've also stop tap, new stop tap here. There was the old stop tap. To be fair, it had 2 stop taps, so we replaced it with a single one there. You've got your blue poly main there. So bearing in mind we had 1 litre a minute coming through, we are now at a very impressive 16 litres a minute coming through the cold main. So soaking myself. So yeah, good result with that. The customer is chuffed to bits. They've been putting up with it for probably near on a year, and when I first came out to the job, I sort of pointed out, I said that's not right. So all of that work out there is off the back of the first time I came out to quote for a different job. So now we've got the water mains pressure into the house, we can now look at doing what we initially came to do. And to be completely honest, I can't even remember what it was, it's been that long. So I'll have to speak to the customer and see what's going on there. But yeah, finally got to the bottom of it, and the customer's now got the mains pressure that they should have in the property. So there we have it, the solution to the mains pressure problem in that house. So yeah, a few of you was asking about that. Funny enough, in the last video someone even said whatever happened to the job with the dodgy mains pressure. So now we know that's sorted. The customer is going to get back to me with exactly what they wanted doing 4 or 5 months ago. I think it was an issue with the hot water, recovery rates on hot water. So now we've sorted that, we can get back to the original issue, what I got called out for. Hope you've liked this one. nice little follow-up to what we started months ago. If you have, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get subscribed to the channel, and I will catch you all later.